The Out of Bounds Show podcast is powered by the DeWalt tools at Ace Bolt and Screw. Visit acebolt.net for a location near you.
WRKS Pickens Jack.
All systems go.
Live from the Whiskey 61 Lounge inside the Bank Plus studio.
This is Out of Order.
Live in the studio. It's the Out of Bounds Show with Low Bounds. Streaming live worldwide on the Out of Bounds radio app. And on your radio at ESPN 105.9.
All set? Let's go.
The Zone.
Oh, man. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in as we get closer to football season. That's right. It's August. We're going to play high school and college football in the month of August. And then in early September, well, we'll have the best of the best. We'll have the NFL. So super excited about that. Want to say good morning to you and welcome in on a Max Effort Monday, the Out of Bounds Show, powered by the Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club. A little rain out there, so be careful. Yeah, a little rain. Blake said he already took a jog in the rain, so he's ready to have a Max Effort Monday. We also want to hear from you at some point during the show. Do you think you're going to give Max Effort today? Do you feel it? Are you in? And or better yet, are you going to thumb your nose at your boss and not give Max Effort? Either way you want to do it. Mississippi Ag, John Deere Tractor text line 601-885-3776. Twitter handle at BowBounds. And the Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line, 601-995-1059, as we're doing a little remote practice. So I'm chilling at the boathouse, watching a little NFL Network. And Blake Mania and Will are in the First Bank Plus studio that we built, that many now get to go in and make money because we set the table for them. It's not a bad deal. I mean, when you walk in and not only is the table set, but the fillets on the plate, the lobsters on the side, the red wine is there. All you got to do is sit down and grab a fork and knife. That's how we teed everybody else up on ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Some of them don't like that, but oh well. Blake was in Memphis this weekend. I stayed here. I thought I was going to start, but Wendy and Ella Hall did. But I had a great weekend, celebrated on Saturday night with some big steaks and so on with some friends. That was a lot of fun. And had a really, really good food weekend. My son and I hit Little Tokyo yesterday. We tried to go to Drago's. But they're closed on Sunday, I think because the Hilton has a great buffet. And so he did want to smash some charbroiled oysters, but we ended up at Little Tokyo on a Sunday lunch, so that ended up working out well too. Blake, did you have any good food to add to the physique over the weekend?
Oh, absolutely. We did a lot of cooking because we had a big group up there with people. So we did a lot of cooking. We made some like homemade steak tacos. You know, picked up some delicious steak and did some things like that. And we did pick up some barbecue one day, which was fantastic.
Was it Western sizzling
Yeah.
quality or better?
Yeah, Western sizzling steak tips with the little peppers and onions. Yeah,
right.
No, it was fire. It was good. So it was a good weekend, you know, just relax, hang out. One more hangout before we get to business, right? Because, I mean, it's here.
Woo! No kidding. It is here, man. Very, very exciting. All right, so did you hit any restaurants up there?
No, we like I said, we had kind of a big group, and there things are all over the place. So we did we picked up some barbecue from a couple. We did not go to Rendezvous, if that's your question. There was no rendezvous.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like going to what's the place in T-Town?
That Ryan Fowler gets all hot and bothered. Dreamland. Yeah.
Dreamland. Yeah. You sit down and then you realize, oh man, Oh,
It's
man.
that's like when they say don't meet your heroes, right? It's never as good in real life.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I did heavily contemplate.
Any Platinum Plus for you this weekend?
Well, yeah, that's where all my money went. That's why I couldn't go out to dinner. I did contemplate going to Texas de Brazil. I love that place. I don't know. You may not be a fan. I love those environments. They're so much fun.
I'm still on the fence about those things. I mean, I think it sounds good in theory, maybe.
I just like getting to have. It's like when we go to Kessler. See, most of the time when people go to steakhouses, they don't get multiple cuts like we do at Kessler Prime.
Well,
so,
I know how to do it. So
well, I know.
Why would I?
Yeah.
Why would I get one cut when we can get
exactly
2 or 3 steaks in the middle, and everybody just gets to pick what they want?
No, I understand that you're ahead of the curve, but most people aren't. So that's why Texas de Brazil is nice, or Foca de Chao, or whichever one you choose. That you get to have a piece of all of it.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay. I think I'm still scarred from spending 30 days in Mexico, and all the meat is hung out on it's. How do I explain this? So when you're walking around in Mexico City, Puebla, Acapulco, I guess even Cancun. I mean, we were there, but I don't necessarily remember this part of it. But I guess when we went back to Playa del Carmen 2 years ago, it was some of the same. No, anyway. So what they do is they have, you can go in a restaurant, but out on the street, like they have it coming out of the wall and down, they have this thing of meat that they shave off of. You see what I'm saying, Blake?
Yeah,
like on the sidewalk?
Yeah, that's very rustic of them.
Yeah. So I think that scarred me. I never tried any of that. I told you, we had 2 classmates go to the hospital the first weekend, and they told me what it was like to go to a hospital in Mexico. And right then and there, I decided that wouldn't be me. I think we had a couple more later in the trip, but when they started dropping like flies, I decided that, I wasn't going to visit the Mexico hospital, or where
That's
I guess
smart.
whatever town we were in.
Smart of you. Speaking of
Yeah.
dropping like flies, NFL quarterbacks. Yeah? Segue?
Yeah, so Dak hasn't practiced again, right?
Yeah, that's correct. That happened Thursday? Thursday was when that
I'm
all
happy
happened?
that the Cowboys are holding him. I hope it's not anything serious. What's going on with Carson Wentz with the Indianapolis Colts? He was with the Philadelphia Eagles.
He hurt himself in practice late last week, and it is now the worst words you can hear when you're talking about NFL quarterbacks, right? We hope he'll be back sooner than later is the only words coming out of Indianapolis. They paid a decent price for Carson, but they would like for him to play this year, not only to make the playoffs, but because if he plays 7% of the snaps, they get a first rounder instead of a second rounder or Philadelphia gets a first rounder instead of a second rounder from Indianapolis. So Indy's trying to make the playoffs. Philly's hoping Carson plays so they can get more value out of the trade. Needless to say, it's a bad situation now in Indy where he's out with injury. In Houston now, Deshaun Watson still, we feel 99% positive he won't play for Houston this year.
Correct.
If he even plays for someone else. So now that division is the Tennessee Titans and Ryan Tannehill and the Jacksonville Jaguars and rookie head coach, rookie quarterback.
Yeah. That's not good. That's not good. We hope that Dak's okay. I hope that Carson Wentz is okay. I hate that for him. You only have so much time to play. So we'll see how that looks. Hopefully Dak can be back at practice maybe by Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, their game is the Hall of Fame game is Thursday. So their week will be weird this week. Again, like we talked about, I think it'd be a mistake for him to be out on the field this Thursday, but you know he's going to want to be out there.
Right. No doubt. All right. Out of bounds, 105.9 The Zone. ESPN will have Tom Luganbill. Tom Luganbill, 8:30 on the Modelo guest line. And we may drop another guest. We'll see how it all shakes out. Oh, I've got something good to get into on the big board. This is going to be fun. Also, people are looking for more conference realignment. or expansion. I don't really think there's anything out there. How about that? I mean, other than Notre Dame, and they ain't leaving, I don't really think anything's out there. So we'll discuss that on the big board, too. Welcome in. Good morning. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone. The Out of Bounds Show podcast is brought to you by Boar's Head. Premium meats, cheeses, and hummus. Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.
On the big board.
All right, I thought this was funny. I saw this over the weekend. I thought this was really, really good. First of all, good morning. Welcome in the Out of Bounds Show. 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. High school football. MRE football. August 13th. Incredible. That's a week and a half.
Yep.
On ESPN 105.9 The Zone. First game. If I had to guess, the MHSAA starts a week later, but Blake or Will can check that. That's the way it usually goes down. Had to take a swig of coffee. All right. Good morning. Welcome in. I've got Blake Mania with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds. We've got Will with us, too. And it is a max effort Monday on the Out of Bounds Show. We've already had somebody on the text line, Troy in Austin, let us know that he is giving a max effort today. That he has over 100 employees, and they're rolling. And so, hey, that's a good thing. All right, so here's what I found that I think is pretty good. If your bathing suit has pineapples on it, people might think you're a swinger. I'm reading this article here, and it says, does your bathing suit happen to have pineapples on it? If so, you might want to get a new one. Or not. Some woman on TikTok bought a bikini with little pineapple designs. She also got pineapple swim trunks for her husband because she thought it would be cute to match on vacation. And they didn't get why several people were being so nice to them. Then she found out that pineapples on your swimsuit means you're a swinger who's looking to hook up. It also applies to shirts, pants, and any other clothing with pineapple designs, especially if you're on vacation or on a cruise. Now you know. Does that sound like a neighborhood that we have here in the Jackson metro area, Blake?
Yeah, I think I've heard a little bit about those pineapples before, but that is not where I thought we were going this morning.
Yeah, well, it jumped out at me on the prep, okay? And so, do you have, Blake, do you have a bathing, well, actually, do you have any article of clothing that has pineapples on it?
No, sir, I do not. I don't believe.
Okay.
I mean, I eat, like, fresh pineapples from the store occasionally. That's about it. I don't think I have. No, you know what? I may have a pair of shorts that has pineapples on them.
All right, if you do, you need to wear them.
Okay.
And
I'm gonna have to go
to
look.
the show, and then we can do the video stuff and all that. But I want to hear from our listeners on the Mississippi Ag John Deere Tractor text line, 601-885-3776. Do you own anything, any article of clothing with pineapples on it? Go ahead and represent. I mean, we're all wondering, is there a pineapple shop? I mean, maybe there should be a pineapple shop in one of the neighborhoods in Madison. Just go ahead and drop it by the clubhouse. Anyway, I thought that was interesting.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, Kumar Rocker, the Vanderbilt pitcher, did not sign with the New York Mets. So there seems to be a lot of back and forth between the two on, is Kumar Rocker healthy? They had until 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And Kumar Rocker signed with the super agent Scott Boras, who I think most of you have heard of. And Kumar, I mean, he just threw in Game 3 of the College World Series. He looked fine. He didn't pitch like he wanted to, but, I mean, he didn't look hurt. But I guess the Mets claim that the shoulder arm scans show something that they don't like. Kumar and Scott Boras and Kumar Rocker's camp are saying it looks exactly like 2018. I don't know, Blake. Did he already have something coming out of high school? I have no idea.
No, I don't think so, but that's
okay.
Yeah, that's the first. This is the first I've heard of any like quote unquote injury issue or anything like that. But to not sign the number 10 pick and for him to be as highly touted as Kumar Rocker has been, totally shocking news. And now it's being reported early that Kumar is not going to go back to Vanderbilt. That he's going to spend time training and I guess getting healthy independently to get ready for next year's draft where he'll be draft eligible again.
Man, he's going to lose out on basically, I guess, about 6 weeks in the minor leagues. Doesn't it go through about mid-September, late September, Blake?
Yeah, you play like a half season basically in the minors, and then you take a month off, and then you go to fall camp somewhere else, in Arizona
in like
or
November,
something.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Late
you
October?
play like a month and a half from October to December or something like that,
Okay, so total we're looking at losing out on 3 months against pro.
Yeah.
Well, with pro coaches who specialize with you every day, which is a totally different ballgame. And, of course, the Mets have probably 50 pitching coaches throughout all the different organizations, right, that are, I guess, maybe traveling and roaming around or whatever. And so you get the best of the best expertise. And Kumar will kind of float till next June because they could not come up with an agreement. Now, how much was the slot value there for Kumar Rocker at the 10th pick for the New York Mets?
I believe it was just over $5 million, but they had him slated as they had a signed contract essentially pending physical for $6 million signing bonus, which would have been over slot value. They were going to pay him a little bit more because of his slight leverage, and also he was so highly touted. They never thought he would fall to 10. But then to not sign him is incredible.
All right. And I just read an article out of Tennessee that was talking about so Boras is quoted throughout. Kumar is not. Boras and the New York Mets general manager are quoted. The New York Mets general manager, you can tell, is being very diplomatic. Scott Boras, the super agent for Kumar Rocker, is not. And Blake, give me that number again about what, give or take, what he could have signed for.
He
realistically,
$6 million was the signing bonus. I mean, that's well reported that the Mets had offered him $6 million in signing bonus pending the physical.
Okay,
so that was what he was going to get. His
I wonder
salary
what they
plus
countered
6.
with once they didn't like the scans.
That's the part that nobody knows is A, what did the medicals show, and B, how did the Mets respond? Did they offer him something? If they did, what was it? And was Kumar's camp willing to budge at all, or do they see this? Were they looking at this from a, hey, y'all are trying to play hardball on something that's ridiculous? We'll just get our value next year. I mean, that's a risky gamble to take.
Yeah, but that's I get that he'll be fine. I mean, that JT Ginn and Gunnar Hoagland, too, that have had arm surgery coming out, that still got a ton of money. And I understand that there will be a lot of value for him next year. My question is, are they really, I mean, will he eventually get surgery? Will they kind of quit if there is something there, this cat and mouse game? Or do they honestly believe that there's nothing wrong with him and he's okay? Do you believe the New York Mets, orthopedic surgeons or whatever, or Scott Boras? I'm sure Boras has an orthopedic surgeon kind of on call, or several, because he, again, represents many different players. Somebody compared this to the Carter Stewart thing. I don't think it's that, because Kumar has... I mean, Kumar is proven.
Yeah.
And he's just he's at a different level than Carter Stewart, who, Mississippi State signee, who the Braves drafted, Blake?
Yeah, drafted 6th overall or something like that. Couldn't sign him, and then he went to Japan.
And it didn't work out for him. this will still work out for Kumar Rocker. Our sports injury discussions are always brought to you by Mississippi Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Center. Visit MississippiSportsMedicine.com. If you have any orthopedic hiccup, you can find the number location near you. Obviously, new location, and surgery center, Lakeland Drive, Flowood. SEC Insider Hit coming up next. The Out of Bounds Show podcast is presented by Edwin Watts Golf Shop on County Line Road. Your golf game starts with Edwin Watts Golf Shop. And good morning. Welcome in. Out of Bounds, 105.9 The Zone. SEC Insider Hit brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. So some big news in the Southeastern Conference. Kumar Rocker, the ace pitcher for Vanderbilt, and the New York Mets could not agree on his health and whether or not his arm was where it needed to be, so to speak. And I guess they had agreed upon $6 million prior to the scans of his shoulder and arm, and it did not work out. So they had until 5 o'clock yesterday, and Scott Boras, the super agent in Major League Baseball, represents Kumar Rocker. And then, of course, the New York Mets selected him with the 10th pick in the first round, and they had come to kind of a handshake agreement that, hey, if everything goes well, we'll sign you for $6 million. We'll send you on to whatever, I guess A, thinking that he could probably be in Double-A before the end of the season, possibly for a couple of weeks. And he's not going to do any of that. They could not come to an agreement, so he will kind of be independent until next June. So he'll go back in the draft. The Mets get another pick. And we'll see. I mean, Mississippi State and Ole Miss fans, for the most part, know who Kumar Rocker is. Dynamic, electric talent. Many of you know who Tracy Rocker is. Defensive lineman out of Auburn. Rocker was a phenomenal player and was one of the better defensive players in the Southeastern Conference. So, how does that look? He's not going to go back to Vanderbilt. So, he is going to work out under probably Boris / some high-level facility. Of course, we just had a listener say that they had read that he is going to have Tommy John surgery. I have not seen that, but that would make sense. Why do you think that the Rocker-Boris side is pushing back on that? Maybe, Blake, even if there is some kind of slight tear, they felt like Rocker was still worth the $6 million because 99% of kids are coming back from this? What do you think?
Yeah, like we talked about yesterday, kind of when all this was going down, it seemed so odd that the Mets wouldn't be willing to sign him, even though he had an injury, given most of the recovery rates. My one thought is, that Boris and company were like, no, we want full value regardless of any issues, and the Mets just weren't going to do that. They wanted some level, I guess, of assurance or some level of, give from their side because of the injury, right?
Okay.
That has to be it. That's the only thing that makes sense, because otherwise, why wouldn't you sign him? He's a proven commodity. Even if he never made it in the majors, he's done enough that it's not like you're taking someone with little to no resume, right?
Right.
Like, even if things didn't work out in the back end, I don't know. It seems very odd for a team that didn't sign or that has already traded their first round pick from last year, is under new ownership, and now doesn't sign number 10 this year. That just doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. So it's just very odd.
Okay. It looks like his dad is the defensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles.
He is.
So he coaches Fletcher Cox?
That's correct.
I didn't realize he was able to take – I figured he had kind of semi-retired to follow Kumar. I can't believe he was able to show up to as many games as he was. I mean, we both saw him out in Omaha, so I saw him twice or 3 times out in Omaha. But I do remember him at Auburn. They were stacked. Pat Dye had the best team in the Southeastern Conference then.
Yeah,
it wasn't close. It wasn't Florida. It wasn't LSU, and it was not Alabama. In that 80, oh man, from about 84, maybe even 83, depending on where you want to go with Bo Jackson. But there was about a 7-year stretch, maybe 8, where Auburn was the most talented team in the Southeastern Conference. They were loaded on D, had enough on offense. Again, this was 3 yards in a cloud of dust time, so it's not like they were doing anything fun or cool on offense. Obviously, with Bo, they didn't have to do much of anything except, take the snap and turn around and either pitch it to him or hand it to him. But when I tell you that some absolute talent went through Auburn, Pat Dye took what Bear Bryant, he learned from the master, and they got after it in recruiting. And, he played on some great teams. 6'3", 288.
Yeah.
How long did he play in the NFL? His career must have been cut short.
It was
he only spent
years.
2 seasons with the Redskins after being a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, he played 2 years with Washington, and then played 1 year with the Orlando Thunder in the World League of American Football.
I missed that.
Yeah, right. Hey,
Will you get an Orlando Thunder jersey for us as we get ready for football season?
That's got to be a hard thing to find, right? Like only on the eBay or something.
Yeah.
There's no way they're still selling those. Let me ask you a little trivia question, right? Tracy Rocker, in his 3rd stint in the last 3 seasons as a defensive line coach, he has coached 6 of the 14 SEC schools as defensive line coach.
That's amazing.
How many of those 6 do you think you could name without getting one wrong?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at it.
Oh, you're looking at the list. Okay, that's cheating.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I didn't know you had
he's
it
been through Arkansas, Ole Miss, Auburn, Georgia, Tennessee, South Carolina. Tracy Rocker was trying to coach it at every school in the league.
He still has time. He's young. Breaking news.
Dang, he's already vested in the NFL.
The OOB Research and Development Division has located an Orlando Thunder jersey for $85.
Oh, we may have to.
And a helmet for $45. Okay, the helmet's amazing. I may be purchasing the helmet right now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
The new R&D division, the R&D wing of the Out of Bounds show is coming in clutch.
Listen to this, man, and send me a picture of that if you don't mind.
Will do.
So, Tracy Rocker was the Outland Trophy winner and won the Lombardi Award.
That's incredible.
It is. He was. He's College Football Hall of Famer in 2004. Dude, I remember him. He was so good. Absolute monster. And look, that was when Auburn, Andre Bruce was their defensive end. And I guess he was somewhat of an edge rusher. It was before teams had totally committed. Parcells was doing that in the NFL maybe about 5 years prior to that. Blake with Lawrence Taylor, which was kind of unheard of. But believe it or not, defensive ends didn't do what they've done the last 30 years prior to that. But Andre Bruce was and Rocker, and there were others, man. They were so good. They should have won the national title. They had 2 opportunities to win the national title. I remember watching them in Veterans Memorial Stadium a few times against Ole Miss and Mississippi State during that run. And when I tell you they would dominate Ole Miss and MSU, it was unbelievable. Just good grief, man. We talk about how hard it is to make up the talent gap in Starkville and Oxford today. I don't think we realize, we have much better, I'm sorry, when run the right way, the rosters are in such a better spot. I get that Auburn still, recruits somewhere between about 11 and 12 and 15, which is still awesome. But, Ole Miss is now 20 composite recruiter, and has been for the better part of 21 years since we've got modern-day recruiting through 247 and, I guess, Rivals, although they do a pretty crappy job here in the state of Mississippi. But I think nationally they're probably still pretty good. And today, Ole Miss is a 20, they're a 20 composite recruiter. And Mississippi State's about a 26 or so. But, man, Auburn would absolutely dominate you in 85, 86, 7, 8, 9. And then eventually Bama had enough, and they ran Pat Dye off in 92, I think it was. 92, and then 93, maybe 93, and then, of course, Terry Bowden comes up and was hired. So that's interesting. Tracy Rocker coaches Fletcher Cox. It always comes back to Mississippi. And Mississippi State was fortunate enough to beat Kumar Rocker in Game 3 of the National Championship Series to win the title. And really did a great job of putting the bat on the ball. If you listen to this show, I question their hitting throughout the lineup for much of the year. I don't know how or why they but everything lined up in Game 2 and Game 3, and they looked like this well-oiled hitting machine, 1 through 9. It's really pretty remarkable when you look back on it, because there were times where a chunk of the order, almost consistently, it may have been a little bit different. It may have been the back end, middle, whatever, but there were times throughout the season where they struggled. And I'm talking about 3, 4, sometimes 5 players. No, more than that. 6 players at a time out of the 9 hitters, right? The 8 in the field and the DH. And yet, all of a sudden, and even Saturday night beating Texas, it took Tanner Leggett with an amazing, performance at the plate coming off the bench. How nails is that? A young man that had kind of spot duty throughout the season and absolutely ropes a single over the shortstop's head against Texas to win 3-2. It's not like they won 8-7, 9-8, and had really hit the ball all over the field. They didn't really hit it on Friday night either against Texas. And then Monday, the wheels went off early, whatever. And McLeod just didn't have his stuff, God bless him, and it was a blowout early. And then all of a sudden, Game 2 and Game 3, they look like the best hitting team in the country up and down the lineup. How does that happen? Isn't that amazing? What would you chalk that up? I know it's baseball, but that's pretty wild that happened. The Out of Bounds Show, 105.9 The Zone, ESPN. Brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Farm Bureau Insurance call-in line is 601-995-1059. Bundle your auto and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent in any of the 82 counties in the state of Mississippi. They'll take care of you and your family. You can also go to favrates.com, F-A-V-E, favrates.com, and get a quote in 4 minutes or less. I want to switch gears here after talking a little Kumar Rocker not signing with the Mets, tying him in with Mississippi State baseball, and reminiscing about 1980s SEC football, which was fun, but it's more fun today. I'm glad I got to go to a ton of games and see Herschel and Bo and all those guys play. But yeah, it's more fun today. And I know you're excited about Matt Corral's last year in Oxford. You should be. Everything seems to be lining up. We're expecting big things there. The first game against Louisville could be intriguing. I don't know if Louisville can hang around or not. We'll see. Ole Miss is better all around, but that game is Monday in Atlanta, so we'll keep an eye on that. That'll be exciting to get Mississippi State on Saturday, and then know that you still got another in-state program playing later in the weekend of Labor Day. And, of course, that's now the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Not Superdome. The Mercedes-Benz Georgia Dome or whatever they call it. And it's new. I haven't been over there to that one. I've been to the Georgia Dome many a times, but I haven't been to the new one. I may have to take a road trip. Not sure what would entice me to. I definitely don't want to drive.
You go to the SEC
miserable.
championship game.
Yeah, I've already done that though several times.
Yeah, but not in this stadium, I guess is what.
Oh, that's a good point.
Was.
That's
yeah.
a good point. Okay,
they say
I'm
it's
with you.
really nice. I mean, it's supposed to be super. And
I bet it's
if you go
phenomenal.
to the SEC championship game, the Chick-fil-A will be open because it won't be Sunday. So win-win.
Okay, I like Chick-fil-A, but that's not why I'm going to Atlanta. There's one right down here, So, although if you go in and if you had a little bit of a big night the night before, it is nice to hammer a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Extra pickles. I love that they don't put mayonnaise on their stuff. That's a beautiful.
Do you
thing.
add
Anyway.
Chick-fil-A sauce to your sandwiches?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't need anything except the about once a month, Blake, I crave a Chick-fil-A sandwich.
Heard.
And Wendy's got the app, so I don't have to do anything. It's
There you
fantastic. Because, I'm not going to wait in the, whatever it's called, the drive-through thing.
Yes.
Especially now that they've doubled them up.
Yeah. Although they still somehow turn them and burn them, man. It's wild how good they are.
We've talked about this, man.
It's the most
their business
well-oiled
model
machine in the world.
is so awesome. It's so impressive, and there have been books written about it, and there will be MBA classes taught around that business model and concept for years. And they don't care. They're going to do their thing, and I love them for it. And look, they have trained so many young people. I think that's where we miss is that there are so many teenagers and college students that have gone through the quote unquote Chick-fil-A program and really learned accountability and discipline and taken that into so many other things in walks of life, which is pretty darn awesome. Somehow they're able to get people to be really nice in the service industry, in an industry where people like me want to get through in 7.6 seconds. I want my order to be perfect, and all that. And it's just, it's one of the best companies in the world. I mean, it's one of the best run companies in the world. I don't know how many billions. I think you threw it out like 6 months ago, Blake. I don't know how many billions in revenue they'll do this year, but they'll be just fine, especially considering they're still a private company. So I wonder if Chick-fil-A will ever go public.
At this point, why? Like, they're so
Man,
mad. I don't know what you would. Yeah.
That is a monster company to be private. Out of Atlanta. All right. Somehow I got into that. I don't know how that happened. Oh, I was going to go to the Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, you're going to the
I think
Mercedes-Benz.
the only way I'm going, Blake, is to go to an NFL game. I'm kind of bowl games are not that interesting.
No.
Obviously, these neutral site games. Keith Carter told us a few months ago, and I knew exactly what he was going to say when I asked him. AD at Ole Miss. I was like, hey, do you plan on doing this in the future? And he was like, no. And, this thing became the cool thing to do in like 2008 or 9 or something.
Yeah.
And play in neutral site games. Obviously, the Dogs and the Rebs have done it, among other teams. And it's not awesome. And people either want to play on campus or they want to play on someone else's campus. Now, will Ole Miss and Louisville be fun? Absolutely. Hey, I wanted to bring this up, Blake. I think you and I touched on this outside the show last week. Can you imagine what it's like to be the University of Louisville today?
Nope.
So it came down to West Virginia and Louisville several years ago to go the Big 12.
And Louisville wanted it bad.
And Louisville wanted it bad. And U.S. senators were involved. And, I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on back channels. Very, 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 very powerful people were working the phones, so to speak. And it comes down to the West Virginia Mountaineers and the U of L, the Louisville Cardinal. And what happens? West Virginia is picked because, well, you could argue at that time they had a more powerful senator, right, that maybe trumped I don't remember exactly where Mitch McConnell was in his career at that time, U.S. Senator out of Kentucky. But the bottom line is West Virginia won the battle of the back room. And it was, I mean, dirty and all that. And West Virginia got the invite to go to the Big 12, all right, which they desperately at that time they needed. And Louisville was sitting there going, and I was too on the air going, oh, this is interesting because that's a good market. They had committed to football. They had committed to basketball. They had committed to baseball. All right, and Louisville has won big at all three sports at some point over the last 15, 20 years. Obviously, they've been good at basketball forever. I don't believe that their title should have been taken away from, a few years ago when whatever happened. But I guess the NCAA vacated it at some point. Good gravy. But anyway, the point is this. Now, think about today. The Big 12 is done. All right, you take Texas and Oklahoma out of the Big 12, and their composite recruiting somewhere between 45 and 50. Yes.
Garbage.
That is G5 level. So it's not going to work. The game's over. Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Baylor will never find a place. Now, they may get some AAC and try to piece something together, but the AAC recruits in the 70s and 80s. So you'll never have a Power 5 conference with what's left of the Big 12. So West Virginia, like Iowa State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, Baylor, TCU, Oklahoma State, among others, they are now, a man without a country. And now Louisville is sitting there. And, again, they battled it out with West Virginia to try to get in the Big 12. Didn't work out. And then they had to sit for a minute. And then eventually they got that coveted offer to go to the ACC. And Louisville's now sitting there going, oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank goodness. I mean, we wanted the Big 12 so bad we couldn't stand it years ago. And now with everything that just happened and Texas waking up one morning and saying, we got to get out of here. And they back-channeled that to the SEC, and the SEC said one thing to them. Bring Oklahoma, or there's no more discussions. Boom, they got that done, brought it back, and the rest is history. Now we have two members officially through what you saw, the press releases on Friday. We now will have two new members in the Southeastern Conference in Texas and Oklahoma.
Incredible.
West Virginia's out, again. And I want you to think about something. Keith Carter put out some feelers for Matt Campbell. Cohen may have too a couple years ago. I don't know. But because Campbell is the up-and-coming coach at Iowa State. He is winning somewhere out in the middle of nowhere because he's just really good at coaching football and developing kids and all that kind of fun stuff. Matt Campbell has said no to Power Fives. Now he's on a one-way ticket out. Next person who knocks on the door. Now, there are two older coaches. I don't want to call them washed up, but there are two older coaches, Big 12 football coaches, that I think may just stand pat. And that is Gary Patterson and Mike Gundy.
Yep.
Because they have made so much money. They both made, $40 million or whatever, right? They've made so much money. I don't think that they will jump, even though they know that the gig is up, that the Big 12 will no longer carry Power 5 status going forward once Oklahoma and Texas officially move to the Southeastern Conference. The show is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Something else to think about. Kim Mulkey at Baylor, she knew. Also, Schlossnagle at TCU moving to A&M, he knew too. I think they knew moving to the SEC. They wanted to go anyway, but I think they knew. Hour number two coming up. Luganville at 8:30 on the Modelo guest line.
Bad phone systems are bad for business. Poor clarity, lack of features, absolutely no support. Well, good news. Reliable VoIP does exist. VoIP from C Spire Business is a game-changing, stress-free communication system with crystal clear audio and premium features, all backed by our team of experts, available 24/7. Now that's VoIP. C Spire Business. Stay connected with powerful communication tools at cspire.com.